My beloved child, today I step into the most hidden chamber of your soul, the place where unspoken words have already turned into trembling sobs, where tired, empty spaces lie behind your brave smile, and where once radiant dreams are now covered in dust from long years of lack. Under my gaze, nothing in you is concealed. Every fold within your soul opens before me like a scroll being turned page by page. And it is in this moment, as I look upon you with endless mercy, that I declare it is time for you to step out of the shadowed prison of scarcity and into the new land where my abundance is no longer a concept, but a breath, a rhythm, a reality placed into your very hands. From the very first morning of your life, I placed upon your name a mark that the world cannot erase. But in the years you battled debt, counted each bill, measured each small remaining balance, your heart has often asked, Lord, where is my worth amid all this lack? I heard that question each time you sighed, each time you woke with anxiety about the next day, each time you folded your dreams away because you believed you lacked the resources to pursue them. I do not blame you for doubting. I know financial pressure is sharp enough to cut through fragile faith. Yet I never let scarcity define you. I used it to prepare you for the season ahead, a season where my provision will become both a fortress around you and a river that never runs dry within you. I did not create you to live as one cornered by circumstances. I destined you to be one who inherits one who knows what belongs to them, one who walks not with fearful calculation, but with the confidence of divine appointment. The years you struggled were only the beginning of the story. That was the season in which I refined you. Just as gold must pass through fire to become pure in its brilliance, you have passed through that fire. And now your soul has the capacity to hold what I intend to pour into you. No one pours new wine into an old wineskin, neither do I. I waited until your heart became wide enough, deep enough, strong enough to receive the outpouring heaven has been storing for you. I saw the battles you fought in secret. I saw you open your wallet with trembling hands, trying not to let anyone sense the fear rising inside. I saw you endure judgments, unfair comparisons, and looks that made you question whether your future could ever change. I saw you guard your dignity even when your pockets were empty. I saw you put others' needs above your own, even when the last brick in your storehouse was about to fall. I know there were nights you fell asleep feeling both grateful to still be alive and exhausted from simply trying to survive. But I speak with the certainty of the one who created heaven and earth. None of it was meaningless. Not one tear has fallen without being stored in my bottle. Not one moment you chose kindness over bitterness escaped the record of heaven. You thought you were walking a path I paid no attention to. But in truth, I was building in you what money could never teach: steadfastness, depth, compassion, and faith that transcends what your eyes can see. These are the very qualities that make you ready for what I am about to give, not because you earned it by human standards, but because you allowed yourself to be shaped by heaven's standards. I am opening before you a way you never dared to imagine. It is not that your dreams were too big, but that they were suffocated by the limits of your circumstance. But circumstance is not your God. I am. And when I say enough, all of heaven rises to affirm that word. The walls that once blocked your way are beginning to tremble. The doors once sealed shut will open so gently that all you will be able to do is stand still and worship. Opportunities that seemed dead will breathe again. What had closed will bloom like green shoots, rising from dry ground. You may have blamed yourself for not being smarter, quicker, or luckier. But hear me clearly, you were not delayed because of what you lacked. You were delayed because I was protecting you from dangerous paths that could have damaged your soul. Just as a father refuses to hand a sharp sword to a child who cannot yet discern enemy from friend, I refuse to give you great resources while you were still influenced by the lies that once ruled you, the lie that your value is found in your bank account, the lie that you must compete to prove your worth, the lie that you are a burden to this world. You believed those lies for so long that they felt like the truth. But today, I broke those invisible chains. Today, with the full authority of my voice, I say to you, you are the one I chose. You are the one I marked. You are the one upon whom I place an inheritance. The shift I am bringing does not come from human strength. It does not rely on the connections you know, promises people made, or opportunities earned through effort. It comes from the treasury I keep in heaven, a treasury no tax can touch, no thief can steal, no force can seize. When Israel hungered in the wilderness, I gave them bread from heaven, not from fields they did not own, not from merchants they could not pay, not from harvests they had no land to sow. In the same way, I do not need favorable conditions to provide for you. I am the condition. I do not need a strong foundation to elevate you. I am the foundation, and I declare that this elevation begins in this very season. You will ask, but how? Lord, and I say you do not need to understand how. You only need to open your heart to receive. Your task is to believe and follow. My task is to work in realms beyond your reach. You thought I was silent, but in that silence I have been rearranging the unseen, the intentions of others, the flow of events, the decisions that appear unrelated yet lead directly to you. I am writing a story no one has ever read before, one in which you are the central character, and your deliverance becomes a sign for generations to come. Lift your head. Financial darkness is not your destiny. The day you thought you were nothing more than a cracked vessel, I saw a place where my light could shine through. The day you thought you survived only on fading hope, I saw resilience sprouting within you. The day you whispered, I don't know if I can go on, I looked at you and said in the unseen realm, this is the moment I prepare to bring you out. And today I reveal what I have kept hidden for a long time. Your season has come. Not a temporary season, a transforming one. You will no longer be called one who lacks. You will be given a new name, the one who has a portion. You will no longer fear opening letters in dread of debt collectors. You will open new messages from heaven, confirmations, instructions, pathways to the freedom I have already written into your destiny. You will walk not in fear but in deep peace. You will speak not with a trembling voice but with the tone of one who knows who walks before them. My child, I proclaim over your life a new chapter begins now. My child, I know there are days you look back and wonder why your efforts never seem to bear fruit proportional to your labor. You worked harder than many, persevered more than the complacent, chose integrity even when it cost you dearly. Yet blessing seemed like a bird that vanished behind the clouds. You looked upward and thought I had forgotten that your prayers had been lost somewhere in the sky. But listen closely to what I say today. Not a single request of yours has ever gone astray. Every one of them landed in my hands like drops of pearl gathered into the keeper's vessel. You have not yet seen the answer, but that does not mean I have been silent. There are seasons where I must work quietly to protect you from dangers you do not see. As a father never explains to a small child why he must pull them away from a seemingly harmless road, I have pulled you away from partnerships disguised as opportunity but crafted as traps, from financial deals that promised profit but carried hidden consequences, from people whose outward gentleness masked internal schemes. You saw a closed door, but I saw the pit behind it. You saw a dream collapse, but I saw your soul nearly being traded. You saw loss, but I saw preservation. Therefore, do not judge your waiting years as failure. They were the time during which I built invisible walls around you. I reset the standards within you so that when true blessing comes, you will not use it to patch spiritual wounds, but to fulfill a calling deeper than you ever imagined. Had I given you great wealth while you were still sensitive to human opinions, you would have let your worth be bought by their approval. Had I poured abundance into you while you were still haunted by scarcity, you would have clung to it in fear rather than use it as an instrument of love. Had I opened doors of promotion while your wounds were still bleeding, those fractures would have cut others the moment you grasped authority. My child, I love you too much to let you step into a season of abundance without a firm foundation. That is why I closed paths that were not meant for you, not as punishment, but as protection. Remember the story of Joseph. The door of his family closed. The door of Egypt opened. The door of Egypt led to a prison, yet the prison became the doorway to the throne. Those cycles were never meaningless. They were the delicate threads of my divine tapestry. And the same is true for you. The things you thought were setbacks were actually turns, designed to place you in positions you could never have entered on your own. I am working even when your eyes cannot see. I am shifting human pieces, arranging hearts in the right place, at the right time, for the right purpose. People who seemed to pass through your life by chance were, in truth, part of the design I am weaving. Encounters that felt accidental carry the fingerprints of my hand. Some I brought to open a door you could not open yourself. Some I sent to push you forward. Some I allowed to leave so that the weight they carried would no longer rest on you. I am refining your circle, separating those who do not want to see you prosper, so that you may step into a season where your increase is no longer hindered or envied. I am also opening doors whose hinges make no sound. They do not clang, do not blaze, do not dazzle, but they open in ways that even hell cannot close. Just as when I parted the Red Sea not with thunder, but with an east wind blowing all night. You did not hear that wind, but the waters were still divided. In the same way, you may not see movement, but shift is happening. Blocked financial flows are being released. Promises you thought were forgotten are returning. Dead-end paths are becoming straight roads leading to new territory. Do not mistake my silence for indifference. Silence is where enduring miracles are conceived. Silence is where I uproot old roots so the soil may be ready for harvest. Silence is where I test the resilience of your soul, not to exhaust you, but to teach you that faith can stand even when emotion cannot. I am doing delicate work within your mind. I am breaking thought patterns that have bound you for years. Words like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'll never improve, I will always lack. I am pulling these roots out of your soul. I replace them with truth. You are anointed. You are predestined for purpose. You lack nothing in my provision. You have a portion in the everlasting covenant. You will come to see that I am not only rescuing your finances, I am rescuing your identity. And I say this to you with a voice gentle yet sharp as a double-edged sword. You are not late. You are not behind. You have not been left outside the blessing. Everything you think you lost has merely been stored in my chamber of divine timing. Had you received it too early, you would have confused blessing with self-worth. But now, when I give, you will know that everything from me carries purpose, not to fill your emptiness, but to propel you into destiny. Look back at the moments that seemed small, the time you forgave someone who wounded you, the time you gave when you barely had enough, the time you chose integrity over shortcuts, the time you knelt to pray when every door was shut. Each of these was a seed I recorded and watered with grace. None of them were misplaced. None were forgotten. None were invisible to me. A new season is sprouting from the very things you sowed in tears and in hope. I am not only preparing circumstances for you, I am preparing you for the new circumstances. I am adding sharpness to your thinking, boldness to your speech, discernment in how you see people, sensitivity in your decisions, and a heart large enough to carry the new role I am placing upon you. I do not bless you to make you proud. I bless you to make you a gentle yet powerful instrument in my hand, like the staff in Moses' hand, once ordinary. But when I placed my power upon it, the seas trembled. Be at peace. For in the moments your life seems most quiet, heaven is working the hardest. You see stillness, but I see rivers in the unseen realm shifting direction toward you. You see difficulty, but I see the horizon growing brighter. You see small, weary steps, but I see the journey you are about to walk with lighter feet because the burden has been lifted from your shoulders. My timing is approaching like a breath upon your neck. Do not think you must force doors open. I am the one who opens doors. What belongs to you will not flee from you. What I uphold will not be handed to another. What I have blessed cannot be reversed. And what I have destined for you will find you as naturally as water finds the sea. The stirring you feel is not imagination, nor passing emotion. It is the echo of eternity touching the deepest part of your soul, signaling that you stand on the threshold of a new season, a season where my provision is no longer a distant promise, but a reality drawing nearer with every moment. You sense this trembling because your spirit is recognizing heaven's signal, just as the child in Elizabeth's womb leapt at the presence of the divine. What you are experiencing is the response of my spirit to the years you persevered, endured, and refused to let go of faith in unfavorable conditions. Remember, this true transformation does not begin when your bank account increases or when you enter a new home, job, or opportunity. It begins in the unseen place where your thoughts are renewed, where the mindset of lack is uprooted, where your heart shifts from fear to trust. That is what I am doing in you now quietly, but surely, like a seed breaking open underground before it rises to the sun. Your life is being prepared for a leap your eyes have not yet witnessed, but your heart has already sensed. My beloved child, you once believed that to step into a season of abundance, the first thing that needed to change was your circumstance. But I tell you, circumstances are only shadows. The true core lies in the spirit. And today, I am redirecting the river within you. This matters more than any amount I intend to place in your hands. For if you enter a new season with an old mindset, abundance becomes a burden, not a blessing. And so the trembling you feel is the sign that I am reconstructing your inner architecture, the structure of your thoughts, your faith, your emotions, making them strong enough to carry the inheritance I have appointed for you. My child, I know how many years you have carried burdens no one could see. Others saw only your smile. But I saw the moments you braced yourself just to make it through the day, the times you hid your tears so no one would worry, the mornings you stood before the mirror trying to convince yourself you were enough, strong enough, valuable enough, worthy enough. I saw the battle inside you between faith in me and fear born from your past. That rope has pulled your heart into exhaustion for far too long. But I have come to cut that rope, not with a violent storm, but with the gentle breath of truth. I whisper into your soul that you no longer have to live under the fear of lack. You are not someone running from the past. You are someone walking toward the call of the future. I am dismantling the old patterns that once imprisoned you, the pattern of believing blessings belonged only to others, the pattern of thinking you deserved just enough while abundance was for someone more gifted. The pattern of seeing yourself as a burden instead of a deliberate choice of heaven. I am renewing the image you hold of yourself. You are not a wanderer in the wilderness. You are one who is advancing toward the promised land. You are not a beggar seeking scraps. You are an heir to the covenant. You are not someone knocking at human doors. You are someone I myself am leading to the table I have prepared. Even if you do not yet see the results, your soul has begun to hear the echo of the future. It tells you that the long years of scarcity are not the final chapter. It reminds you that you were not born to wither under the fear of finances. It affirms that I, the one who carried you through storm after storm, will not let you die of thirst in the desert when I have prepared rivers for you. Every time your heart quickens at a word that touches an old dream, every time a whisper of hope stirs inside you, every time something awakens within you, as if life is returning, that is my voice calling you out. My child, this shift is not of human origin. It comes from heaven. Some things you receive because you work hard, but some things come only when my hand touches you. What I am about to give you is the kind of blessing no one can calculate. No one can steal. No one can comprehend how it found its way to you. It does not come to prove how skilled you are. It comes to prove how faithful I am. I do it not for people to applaud you, but for you to know that among billions, I see you. I remember you. I know what you walked through, and I choose to open a new chapter. Do you know why? Because you did not abandon me in your hardest moments. You did not close the door of your spirit though your heart was weary. You did not turn away from me even when your emotions grew cold. You continued praying even when your prayers were soaked in tears. You continued believing even when the light was as thin as a needle tip. You continued standing even when everything around you urged you to collapse. That kind of faith, the faith not built on circumstance, but on the truth you know about me, is what I treasure most. And now I declare the reward of that faith has reached its appointed season. But, my child, do not think the reward is merely material. What I am giving first is inner rebirth, a heart expanded, an understanding illuminated, a spirit elevated. I do not pour new oil into an old vessel. This is why I shattered false expectations, reshaped limited dreams, and freed you from the mindset of mere survival. I did this so you could receive the wealth I designed for you, wealth that not only fills your hands but fills your spirit, wealth that does not pull you away from me but draws you closer, wealth that does not make you proud but makes you humble. Knowing grace has carried you here. I want you to understand clearly that the opening you are about to walk through is not random. It is the result of the formation I have been doing during all the years you thought I was silent. I have never been silent. I simply work in ways your eyes are not yet trained to recognize. You thought you stood still, but you were moving every day each time you forgave, each time you chose kindness, each time you spoke life instead of bitterness, each time you refused to compromise with darkness. Every act placed you on the path to purpose. And now, when I say the floodgates have opened, it is not a metaphor. It is a spiritual reality. The waters of blessing have been held back for a long season, waiting for the day your heart was strong enough not to be swept away. And today, I declare the waters have begun to pour. You will no longer live on fragments of grace. You will live in the flow. You will no longer beg for opportunities. You will stand before doors that open by themselves. You will no longer fear tomorrow. You will rest in knowing that I, the one who created all things, holds your destiny in my hands. My child, let this word anchor deeply into your soul. A new season is beginning not from the outside, but from within you. When your inner being changes, reality will follow. When the way you see yourself changes, what comes toward you changes. When you recognize that you are called to flourish and not merely survive, all of heaven aligns to place you in the position that matches your calling. I am preparing you not only to receive blessing but to carry it. You will become one who helps others rise again. You will become a testimony of divine provision. You will be the flame that awakens hope in silent souls. You will be the stream that waters barren places I lead you into. My beloved child, as you step out of the shadowed season of lack and enter the new path I have prepared, I want you to understand that this is not merely a change of conditions. This is a complete renewal of identity, vision, and purpose. Purpose I wrote for you from the beginning of creation. You are being led into a land you have not walked before, and for your feet to stand firmly on it. Your heart must expand to carry the weight of glory I am placing upon your shoulders. In these past years, you have learned how to stay calm when contrary winds blew hard, learned how to hold on to peace when the world around you was loud, learned how to anchor your hope in me even when others mocked that hope. These things people deemed small have become deep roots, embedded in your soul, roots of trust, roots of steadiness, roots of endurance. And now, as I bring you into a new realm, these very roots will keep you unshaken by whispers of criticism, winds of jealousy, or the shifting tides of change. My child, the land you are stepping into is not a natural land. It is a sacred space where purpose and provision intertwine, where you will see that I am not merely shifting your circumstances but transforming you into a living testimony of my faithfulness. The years of lack have trained your eyes to discern truth from illusion, to see value in the small things, to recognize my hand in ordinary moments. Those same eyes will keep you from arrogance when I lift you up, keep you from losing yourself when you prosper, and keep you attentive to the whisper of the Spirit even as success grows louder around you. And the blessing I am releasing in the coming season is not only to meet your personal needs, it is to open doors through which you will touch lives I have aligned with your path. You once thought your life was small and insignificant, but I tell you, the mere breath I preserved in you is evidence that I have a far greater purpose. No one I protect so deliberately is created to merely survive. If I allowed you to walk through fire without being consumed, it is because I am preparing you to bring light into places others fear to enter. I am giving you a wide land, not so you may display prosperity, but so you may carry light. Light not born from possessions, but from my presence in you. True prosperity is not a full wallet or a large house. True prosperity is when your soul is nourished, your mind is at peace, your heart is light, and you know you are being guided by a hand that never fails. I know you have often asked why I did not let blessings come earlier. Why did the hardship last so long? Why others seem to receive more quickly? Hear me, the blessing designed for you is tailored to your soul, not to someone else's measure. And when I build something measured by your spirit, I do not build in haste. I do not lay foundations on sand. I build on rock. That is why the blessing you are walking into is not the kind that comes and goes. It is the kind that lasts for generations. This is why I have refined you detail by detail, strengthened each hidden weakness, revealed the truth about yourself, so that you do not enter this season carrying the holes of doubt, shame, or fear. In this new season, you will see that my calling on you is not merely restoration, but positioning. I am placing you exactly where I want you to be. You will stand in places you never thought possible. You will step into spaces you once believed belonged only to the qualified. But hear the truth, I am the one who qualifies you. You do not depend on achievements, networks, or human approval. You need only my call, and that call has been echoing in your spirit for years. Fear only made it faint. Now I am amplifying it within your mind and heart. You will see in this season that what I do for you carries a pace unlike previous seasons. Doors you believed needed years of knocking will open at a single word from me. Things you thought required long waiting will unfold so quickly that it will leave you still in holy awe. Not because you suddenly became more deserving, but because my appointed time has come. When my hour comes, nothing can delay it. When I command, nothing can hinder. When I call your name, no power can mislead you. And, my child, you are not walking into this new land alone. I have sent angels ahead of you to prepare paths you have not yet touched, to arrange the encounters you will need, to soften hearts at the right moment, to prepare resources before the need arises. The arrival of blessing will look like a river flowing toward you. No one will be able to explain it. Yet everyone will recognize my mark upon your life. What I do will confuse the enemy, but will make you know beyond doubt that I have never left you, not for a moment. And when you stand on the new land, you will understand why the losses of the past were necessary. If you carried the old things with you, your spirit would have no room for what I am giving. If those who wounded you remained, there would be no space for the connections I have chosen. If you stayed within the comfort of familiar safety, you would never learn that life with me is not about surviving, but about unfolding. I want you to know the new land is not a place you come merely to survive, but a place you come to become. You will become the person I envisioned from the beginning, the one who carries peace, the one who plants hope, the one whose voice restores souls, the one who stands in darkness but brings light, the one I have appointed as a pillar of blessing. You are not entering your future by accident. You enter it with guidance, preparation, and divine protection. And I declare every step you take will be reinforced by my presence, my beloved child. When I lead you into the new land, my desire is not only to see you standing on a broader foundation, but to see you walking with a heart refined, an inner being strong enough to remain unmoved by winds that come from unexpected places. For the blessing I am preparing for you is not a fragile blessing. It carries weight, depth, and influence beyond your personal life. And for you to carry such weight, your soul must be built stronger than stone. For many years, you have wondered why outward change did not come as quickly as you hoped. You believed that if circumstances shifted, your heart would finally lighten, that if financial doors opened, your tension would ease, that if you had enough, your anxiety would fade. But I say to you, the storms outside have never been the true source of your weariness. The roots lie in unhealed wounds, memories left unresolved, fears birthed from moments you were forced to endure alone, and careless words spoken by others that lodged themselves in your mind like hidden arrows. I saw all of it, and I will not allow those things to follow you into the new season. That is why, while you thought you were standing still, I was doing delicate work deep within, cutting away thoughts that made you shrink your worth, dismantling old patterns the enemy planted during your hardest years, and replacing them with truth from me, truth that does not shift with seasons, does not tremble under pressure, and does not vanish in difficulty. Do you know why I allowed you to walk through phases that felt too silent? Because those were the seasons in which I was carving your inner structure. That silence was not abandonment. It was like the moment a potter spins clay on the wheel. No one hears the clay being shaped, but its form is being defined. You thought I was doing nothing, yet I was turning you to the rhythm of heaven. You thought you were forgotten, But you were in the center of a process designed for a purpose far greater than you imagined. I placed you in seasons of quiet so you could learn lessons noise could never teach. In stillness, you learned to distinguish my voice from your emotions. In stillness, you learned to rely on me rather than success. In stillness, you learned to find peace in my presence instead of searching for it in changing circumstances. Those lessons have become the foundation upon which I am building a work of glory in your life. You once saw yourself as weak, but I saw endurance. You once saw fear, but I saw faithfulness. You once felt insufficient, but I saw the seeds I planted, seeds of kindness, seeds of perseverance, seeds of gentleness that you kept alive even when life was heavy. And now, those seeds are ready to bloom. Understand, this blessing comes to those with capacity, and I have enlarged your capacity through every trial you have endured. Each time you chose kindness instead of retaliation, you widened your spiritual space. Each time you forgave one who did not deserve it, you made room for my love in you. Each time you walked by trust instead of sight, you deepened your foundation. All of these moments converged and matured you into one who can steward the blessing I am about to pour over your life. In the coming season, you will be placed in positions others cannot understand. But I understand, for I have watched the growth of your soul in the hidden place through every tear unseen, every whispered prayer, every quiet act of righteousness. I have measured your maturity not by your outward success, but by your endurance when you had nothing. And this is what makes you trustworthy in my eyes. There were times when I withdrew outward support so you would learn that your roots are in me, not in the blessing. If I allowed you to rely on the blessing, you would mistake resources for strength. But when I taught you to rely on me, you discovered that whether blessing comes or goes, you remain unshaken. In this season, I intend for you to live not with anxious attachment to material things, but with the freedom of walking in gratitude, not with the tension of clinging, but with the ease of receiving, not with the tightness of fear, but with the peace that comes from knowing I am the source that never runs dry. My child, I am healing the deepest layers of your heart, the fears no one knows, the wounds from childhood, the memories you thought you overcame but still sting in the quiet hours. I will not let any of these enter the new season. That is why in recent times it has felt as though I have turned over old chambers of your heart, not to wound you, but to heal you completely. No scar escapes my attention. You have wondered, why are painful memories resurfacing now? Because this is the moment I am pulling out their final roots so they can no longer shape your identity. And I will show you something wondrous. The very things that once caused you pain will become places of strength. Your empathy for the broken will sharpen. Your words of encouragement will carry deeper authority. Your presence will bring peace to those who are falling apart. I waste none of your tears. I turn each one into oil. I transform every scar into testimony. I turn every hardship into a foundation for wisdom. I am not merely renewing your thinking, I am expanding your understanding of who you truly are in me. You are no longer one pushed around by circumstance. You are one marked by heaven. You are no longer a captive to negative thought patterns. You are one equipped for greater things. You are no longer one who flees from trials. You are the one who walks through fire and becomes living evidence that I preserve those who belong to me. My beloved child, when the deepest layers of your soul have been touched by me, when the old wounds have begun to close under the gentle breath of my presence, when the roots of fear that once wrapped tightly around your mind have been pulled out from the soil of the past, then the time for your rising truly opens. This is not a rising born out of ambition, nor an attempt to prove your worth before anyone, but a rising established by the decree of heaven itself, a decree spoken long before you knew how to pray, declaring that you were never created to remain hidden in silence, but to stand in this appointed moment. I saw you even in the days when you did not know you had a voice, did not know you carried a dignity woven from eternity, did not know that every battle you endured was part of a greater blueprint I held in my hands, and now I reveal to you, not through scattered signs, but through a complete unveiling, that you have been prepared to step into a position I have long waited to entrust to you. Remember the years when you believed you were overlooked, when you thought your worth was too small for anyone to notice, the nights you lay awake with an empty ache in your chest, fearing that your future held nothing more than repetitive exhaustion. I heard all of it. I saw every tremble in your heart, every attempt to remain composed when nothing around you felt secure, every tear that fell onto your pillow, yet never fell out of my sight. Those moments, though you thought they were wasted, were the very moments I was shaping a strength within you, not the kind forged by the world, but the kind formed through my preservation. Not a single step you have taken was meaningless. Not a single pain was overlooked. Not a single disappointment escaped my use in solidifying the stability I was building in you. Now that the season of rising has arrived, know that this is not a ceremonial proclamation, but a spiritual reality being pressed upon your soul. You rise not because you are strong, but because I have become your strength. I held you when you thought you could not stand another moment. I lifted your spirit when it nearly collapsed under discouragement. I preserved your dreams when reality felt too heavy to carry. The perseverance that kept you from falling apart did not come from you. It came from my invisible hand, covering you through every storm. This is why I tell you that now you are free to step into a new role, a role unhindered by memories, fears, or voices that once made you shrink. In this new season, I place within your mind a boldness you never imagined you could carry. It is not a loud boldness meant to impress, but a quiet boldness rooted in the certainty that you stand on an unshakable foundation. When you speak, you will speak with the assurance of one who holds truth. When you walk, you will walk with the awareness that each step has been prepared by me. When you decide, you will do so in peace rather than trembling. The things that once made you hesitate will no longer bend your heart, for I am opening your spiritual eyes to see clearly what is my voice and what is merely the echo of fear. You will recognize that the words which once pierced your insecurity now fall powerless, for they can no longer cling to a soul that I have healed. The clarity I give you will help you discern what is from me and what is merely the residue of old wounds. You will no longer sway under opinions, nor be steered by temporary emotions, nor allow anything to dim the brilliance of your spirit. You will also discover that your heart has become far wider than before, no longer shrinking in self-protection, no longer straining to appear strong, no longer clutching what drains you. Your heart now becomes the place where I sow wisdom, compassion, and gentleness, the kind only those who have walked through deep sorrow can truly carry. That very heart will help you steward the blessing I am preparing. For abundance requires more than skilled hands. It requires a tender, grateful spirit. I do not bless you to burden you, but to make you a flow of blessing to many. I expand your provision not to inflate your ego, but to free you to live out the purpose I have written for you. I lift you up not to make you proud, but to make you steady in the face of every trial without losing humility. My child, you will never return to the old place again, not merely the external place, but the internal place where your mind once shrank in fear, reacted with doubt, or circled in the belief of not being enough. You no longer belong to that narrow land. I have closed the doors of the past so you will not be tempted to walk back into what once bound you. The burdens you carried, the anxieties that chased you, the words that made you retreat, all of these have been removed by my hand. You enter this season as one who has passed through fire without being burned, through waters without being drowned, through disappointment without losing your soul. This is the time for you to stand, not in fear of unworthiness, but in the affirmation that I am the one who calls you. This is the time for you to step forward, not because you understand everything, but because you trust that I know the way. This is the time for you to open your heart, not because you never feel pain, but because you have learned that I turn pain into power. You have endured too much to live a small life. You have persevered too long to settle for the ordinary. I have seen your faith in the storm, and now you will walk in the peace unlocked by the very words I am placing over you. Rise. The sky is brightening. The path is opening, and my glory is casting its shadow over your life. You do not walk alone. I walk with you. You do not speak alone. My spirit whispers within you. You do not stand alone. My hand rests firmly upon your shoulder. This is your hour, and no power can stop what I have ordained. My beloved child, as I lead you into this new chapter, I do not guide you with thunderous signs or spectacles to astonish the world. I guide you with a silence full of authority, a silence not born of emptiness, but of divine movement, unfolding in depths unseen by the natural eye. You may feel as though you are standing in an uncomfortable stillness, where every motion seems slow, where you face the quiet spaces of your heart and questions without immediate answers. But I tell you truly, in such moments, my plan is being arranged with the greatest precision. When you think nothing is happening, I am shifting invisible winds to prepare you for a leap you never dared to imagine. My beloved child, what you must understand in this season is that not every transformation begins with sound. A seed makes no noise when it breaks its hardened shell to push out a sprout. The sun makes no sound when it tears through the night to rise. The stars make no commotion when they burn into brilliance across the wide heavens. In the same way, the transformation I am working within your life does not need display or noise. Yet its power will astonish you when you look back. You will realize that the days you thought were silent were the very days I was laying a new foundation in your soul, a foundation not built with haste or anxiety, but with steadiness, firmness, and peace. I know there have been moments when you asked yourself whether you were standing in the right place, walking in the right direction, or simply falling behind while the world rushed forward. You watched others advance quickly and wondered why your path seemed longer, why doors opened for them but remained closed to you. I know this created a deep fatigue in your soul, not the weariness of the body, but the exhaustion that forms when you have longed for something for years and still have not seen it take shape. But my child, I never measure the worth of a person by how fast they climb earthly ladders. I measure by the depth of what I am planting within them. A tree that grows quickly will topple easily, but a tree planted deep will stand firm through every storm. I allowed you to walk through this quiet season, not to test you, but to prepare you. You cannot carry the weight of the blessing I am about to release if your heart is still swayed by comparison or shaken by the voices of others. I want you to enter your new season with the posture of someone who is established, not someone pushed by fear, but someone guided by the certainty that I am working, even when nothing around you seems to change. In the days when you feel you are not accomplishing much, I am accomplishing for you what you cannot yet see. I am reshaping the way you think, the way you perceive life, the way you respond to challenges. I am teaching you to look through spiritual vision, not merely through logic or emotion. You will learn to notice the smallest shifts, to discern subtle changes that seem insignificant but are signals of a new chapter nearing. I do not want you to step into blessing unconscious and unprepared. I want you to receive it with awareness, with gratitude, with maturity that can hold it without losing yourself. My child, I am awakening in you a new sensitivity, not the sensitivity of earthly experience, but of my spirit. You will find yourself recognizing what is right even before you have a logical reason. You will sense direction before the door opens. You will understand my lead even when it has no verbal explanation. This is the season where I am tuning your soul to the rhythm of heaven, so that when I move, you move. When I pause, you pause. When I breathe toward a new direction, you lift your face to follow. The wonder of this silence is that you will learn to differentiate between the desires of your soul and the calling of heaven. Desires may rise from personal longing, from fears of being left behind, from unhealed wounds, but calling never comes from such places. Calling comes from the deepest place. I have touched the place where pain no longer governs, where truth has room to grow, where you know you can never live the old way again. I know there were moments when you thought, does this silence mean God is far from me? But this very silence is proof that I am closer than ever. I do not always speak loudly for you to hear. Sometimes I simply stir your heart a little, illuminate your mind with a quiet understanding, or cause your steps to hesitate or advance. These subtle movements are my voice. For now that your faith has matured, I no longer need to speak with noise. I speak through the peace that settles deep into your bones. The door of the new season is no longer shut. It is opening, little by little, like dawn spreading along the edge of the horizon, not sudden, not rushed, but certain. The shift in the spiritual atmosphere around you is not an illusion. It is the signal that heaven is leaning close. What I am preparing is no longer far away. It is drawing nearer by the hour, by the day. And though you may not yet see it in your hands, your spirit has begun to sense its approach. My child, this is the stage where your faith becomes more than words. It becomes breath. This is the time when you no longer trust me only for the big things, but learn to trust me in every detail, every small shift, every subtle trembling within your soul. That kind of faith softens your heart so I can lead you like a shepherd leads his sheep through quiet meadows and narrow paths alike. When you let me lead you this way, you will realize that blessing is not born from speed, but from timing. You have walked through seasons full of storms, and that is why I want this season to begin with peace. I do not want your transformation to erupt through chaos or rush. I want it to unfold with such clarity that your soul no longer questions. And when the season of increase finally reveals itself, you will know that everything you endured with patience has become the soil from which abundance will grow. Rest in me. Trust that this quietness is not an empty void, but the cradle in which miracles are warmed and shaped. Open your heart to the gentle movements of heaven, for your appointed time is near, and when it comes, it will come like light breaking through darkness, not loud but unstoppable. My beloved child, my guidance does not come like a forceful wind pushing you far in a single moment, but like an underground river shifting course, creating subtle movements noticed only by those who listen. What you are experiencing is not delay nor directionless wandering, but the process by which I am adjusting each step you take, aligning you with the timing of heaven so that when blessing arrives, you will not be overwhelmed or confused, but will step into it as one who has been long prepared. I know there are days when your heart feels unsettled by uncertainty. You look around and everything once familiar now feels tight, Relationships that once comforted you no longer resonate. Goals you once pursued no longer feel aligned. You stand at a crossroads, unwilling to return to what was, yet unable to see the fullness of what will be. That uneasiness makes you think you are losing your way. But my child, hear me clearly. The moment you feel most lost is often the moment you are closest to my true path for you. My beloved child, a change of season always begins with a feeling of unfamiliarity. Just as when Abraham was called to leave his homeland without knowing the destination, just as when Moses stood before the Red Sea with no visible way forward, just as when David was driven from the palace only to be trained in the wilderness into the king he was destined to be. Every shift that comes from me begins with a step taken in the mist, so that you learn not to rely on your own understanding but on my voice. I allow uncertainty, so I may uproot the belief that you must control everything. I allow silence so your soul becomes sensitive to my breath. When you no longer know what to do first, you look to me, and that is precisely what sets you on the right path. I am expanding the inner space within you. You once lived within the small boundaries of what your eyes could see. But now, I am enlarging your mind to see farther, wider, deeper. There are moments when the dreams within you feel larger than your abilities, so large that they overwhelm you with questions about worthiness and capability. But hear me, those dreams do not originate from you, they originate from me. I am the one who planted in your spirit a longing that stretches beyond your former limits. Because your future is not written within the constraints of circumstance, but within the abundance of my kingdom. I have seen how many times you tried to understand what I was doing, tried to piece the fragments together to find the whole picture, tried to grasp the meaning of every small shift. But know this, there are things I am doing not for you to analyze, but for you to learn to rest in my guidance. Rest is not passivity. It is the state of a mind that knows that even when you do not see, I am working, even when you do not hear. I am speaking, even when you do not understand. I am right. When you rest, you stop forcing everything to move according to your effort and allow me to move everything into its appointed place. Look back, the inexplicable peace, the strong intuition pulling you away from things that once felt familiar, the hesitation toward opportunities that looked good yet felt wrong, the inner tug drawing you toward a direction you had never considered. These are my leadings. I am recalibrating the compass in your soul so you walk rightly without fearing the unknown. I am also removing from your life what no longer aligns with your future. There are people drifting away, doors silently closing, projects that suddenly lose their appeal. I allow this not to hurt you, but to prune what no longer bears fruit, so the life within you can nourish the things I am preparing to bloom. You cannot enter a new season if your hands cling tightly to what I have asked you to release. But once you release, you will find yourself light enough for your soul to rise higher. I am not merely opening a door, I am shaping you into the person who can walk through it and remain in the blessing behind it. I want you to carry discernment strong enough to refuse what is not from me, peace deep enough to remain unmoved by storms, confidence steady enough to face great turning points without trembling, and humility broad enough to recognize that every good thing comes from my hand. And child, you are not lost, you are being guided. You are not standing alone at a crossroads, you are standing in the glow of heaven's attention. There are angels I have sent ahead of you to clear the way, doors being prepared to open precisely as you arrive, hearts being stirred to help you, and situations that appear random but are in fact my perfect orchestration. My beloved, I want to speak to you about something you have only dared to hope for in secret, a tangible shift, a visible change, A reversal not only in your thoughts or emotions, but in the material realities of your life. I know there have been many times when even your desire for good things frightened you, because old wounds whispered that you were asking for too much, that you should be satisfied with just enough, that you were not like those born to walk spacious paths. You became accustomed to shrinking your desires, placing yourself at the back, yielding your place in the light to others, until you began to believe that abundance belonged to others and would never truly touch your hands. But today, I speak to you with tenderness and authority. I did not call you to a life that merely survives from breath to breath, a life that only manages to endure the days. I call you into a life where my blessing does not merely soothe your soul, but pours into your reality as a clear and undeniable stream, until both you and those who once doubted you must acknowledge that only my hand could have done this. Remember the moments you whispered to me your anxieties about money, the months when you had to calculate every small expense, the nights when your stomach tightened at the thought of the future, the times when you wished to do good but hesitated because the resources were not enough. You hid nothing from me in those sighs. Even when words did not come, I saw every worry, every moment you gave, even though it meant you would have less. Every time you chose faithfulness in small things, no one noticed, and those moments have become silent testimonies of your heart before heaven. You thought I only saw the holy moments when you knelt to pray, but I also saw you staring at plain numbers, trying to keep fear from crushing hope. I saw you mustering courage to believe you were loved, even when your financial reality did not reflect it. These things, my child, are not footnotes. They are the very backdrop against which I will display the reversal I have prepared for you. My beloved child, I do not promise you a path that requires no stewardship, no wisdom, no maturity. I promise you that when I begin to open the way, the doors that once remained locked will bow on their own before my presence upon your life. I will lead you into situations where you will recognize intervention so clear that it cannot be credited to luck or coincidence. It may begin with a debt resolved in a way you never expected, a job opportunity you did not strive to win, a provision arriving at the very moment you were near empty, a small idea breathed upon by me until it bears abundant fruit. I am not restricted by any system, limited by any circumstance, or hindered by the agendas of those who have tried to take advantage of you. I am the one who moves through every layer of structure built to confine, touching precisely where freedom must be released, loosening what has long been restrained. You once believed that material provision and financial blessing were merely additions, secondary to deeper spiritual matters. And yes, I want your priorities to be in the right place. Your heart, your soul, your identity in me come first, but I never treat lightly the things that affect your daily life. When I heard your quiet cries of worry about tomorrow, those tears were not less spiritual than the prayers asking for inner transformation. I receive them all. I love you wholly, and therefore I care for both your spiritual life and your earthly needs. I want to see you breathe without the tightness of scarcity gripping you. I want you to lift others without fearing there will not be enough for yourself. I want you to dream in ways that match the stature I placed within you, not in ways small enough to avoid criticism. There will come a day when you look back and realize that the years of waiting were not meaningless delays, but inner accumulation, the deepening of character that keeps you grounded when blessing comes. Blessing without depth becomes a gust of wind that blows a person away from the source. But blessing given to a mature soul becomes a river that nourishes nations. I have chosen you for the second kind. I do not want you merely to have more. I want you to become someone different, someone who, when holding what I give, is not ruled by it but uses it as a gentle yet powerful instrument to build, to heal, to lift, and to reveal my goodness to a thirsty generation. There will be a day you awaken and notice that the atmosphere around you has changed. It will still be the same room, the same people, the same life. Yet within you there will be a peace, and over your life, an opening no one can explain. You will see tasks that once required immense effort begin to flow with ease. You will see doors that once questioned why you begin to ask why not you. You will see voices that once belittled you grow silent before the results I establish in your life, not to satisfy your pride, but to show that I still respond, still see, still defend those who choose to trust me in their darkest chapters. And on that day of blessing, I want you to remember this: you were not chosen because you were flawless. You were chosen because you did not run from me, even when you did not understand me. You were not lifted because you never fell. You were lifted because after every fall, you found your way back to me. You were not rescued so you could store away what you received, but so it could flow outward, extend further, and bring hope to those standing in the very place you once stood. You are living proof that waiting is not wasted, that tears do not vanish, that years appearing squandered will be redeemed by a harvest that will leave you breathless. Do not shrink back for fear of being disappointed again. Do not reduce your dreams to the size of your fears. Do not close the door before I have the chance to knock. Let me teach you what it means to live in a new stream, a stream of deep trust, unshakable peace, and provision beyond what you ever dared to ask. When you walk in that flow, you will understand that I never intended for you to live a merely acceptable life. I wrote you into a story where you would rise from the shadows of lack and declare to the world that there is one who still works wonders, still rewrites destinies, and still turns broken stories into extraordinary testimonies of grace. And when you accept this, when you dare to believe that you are allowed to be a carrier of blessing and not just a seeker of blessing, when you dare to embrace a future no longer bound by what has been, then the transfer I promised will begin to appear. Not with noise, but with a deep shift in the way you see yourself, in the way you walk, in the strength of a faith no longer shaken. From that moment, even before you hold everything I have appointed for you, you will know with certainty that the river has changed direction, that heaven has leaned in your favor, that your story will not end in scarcity, but continue in abundance, written by my unchanging love. My beloved child, I want you to look beyond the numbers, the calculations, the financial plans, and the material doors opening before you. To see what I am truly doing, I am rewriting a covenant in your heart. I am restoring an identity that years of lack attempted to erase. The blessing you are about to experience is not merely a change of environment or level of provision. It is a root-deep redefinition of who you are in me, where you stand in my plan, and why I chose you to carry a portion of my kingdom's abundance into a world trembling with instability. I did not lead you here only so your breathing could grow easier. I led you so you could breathe within a new atmosphere, the atmosphere of trust, inner peace, and the unshakable awareness that you belong to a covenant no fluctuation of this world can alter. You once walked as someone perpetually lacking, always fearing that one day what you had would disappear, always gripping every small blessing tightly in case it never returned. I saw how many times you longed to live generously, yet still felt the faint tremor of worry in the background, pulling you inward, making you retreat to the edges of safety. I do not blame you. Most of that fear was formed during seasons when you had to fight alone, when losses came without comfort, when memories taught you how quickly life can change. But now, When I speak to you of a new season, I am not merely promising more. I am healing the root of the feeling of never enough that has followed your soul like a shadow. I do not want you entering abundance with the mindset of someone who thinks they are just temporarily lucky. I want you entering as someone who knows they are a covenant bearer, a promise holder, a carrier of my enduring faithfulness. Look back over the flow of your life not to linger in regret, but to recognize what you could not see before. Through every seemingly random stage, I was faithfully building in you something no money can buy and no person can remove: inner maturity. The understanding that your worth is not measured by what you possess, but by the one who called your name. I allowed you to walk through seasons where you had nothing to boast of, so you would learn to separate identity from achievement. I allowed you to feel the draining of your own strength, so you would discover where true sustenance comes from. I allowed you to taste abandonment, so you would know what it feels like to be held by me when everyone else seems to turn away. All of these experiences have been weaving themselves into a foundation that will allow you to receive blessing without being consumed by it. My child, what I am doing to you in this season is not merely relief, it is empowerment. I am not standing above you, tossing down a few fragments of blessing and withdrawing my hand. I am taking your hand and pulling you into a new position, shaping you into someone who knows how to operate in abundance without losing humility. Someone who knows how to make decisions without being governed by fear. Someone who knows how to use what they have to ignite hope in those who stand where you once stood. You will not merely be the one who says, "I was rescued." You will be the one who lives the story. I was invited to partner with God in the rescuing of others. I do not see you only as a recipient, I see you as a collaborator, a bearer of my glory into corners that others cannot reach. I know that words like calling, assignment, and legacy have at times made you shrink back, because they made you feel too small, too ordinary, too fractured to carry anything significant. You have wondered, what could someone like me possibly leave behind? And you have pushed away bigger dreams because you believed they belonged only to the strong, the confident, the advantaged, and the flawless. But my child, you measure yourself with your own scale, while I look at you through the eyes of the one who sees the entire arc, from the days you trembled in darkness to the moment your heart first turned toward the light. Even through a whispered prayer, I did not choose you because you are perfect. I chose you because you are willing, because even after disappointment, you still return to me, even after doubt. You do not sever the bridge between us, even after being wounded. Your heart still retains the capacity to believe in goodness. That capacity is the fertile ground into which I am sowing something greater. The abundance I am leading you into does not simply mean you will have enough for yourself. It means you will become a conduit through which I pour into others. I am not asking you to solve the world's lack the moment you step into blessing. I am inviting you to begin with whatever I place within your reach. It may be a heart that has grown larger, a freedom to give without the shadow of loss, a timely encouragement for someone drowning in financial despair, a partnership that channels resources to the places I desire. When you learn to view every blessing not as a puddle to be stored but as a river to flow, you will discover that the more I pour into you, the more freely you will give. And in that exchanging flow, you will not become poorer, but richer in ways far beyond material wealth. The legacy I am building through you does not end with your lifetime. I am thinking of those who will come after you, children who may never know the battles you fought, yet who will grow up in an atmosphere different from the one you knew, an atmosphere not clouded by fear of lack, not heavy with the shame of incapability, not confined by limits previous generations accepted as normal. I see tables filled with laughter instead of worry, Conversations centered on hope and purpose instead of complaint. Decisions shaped by peace instead of pressure. You may think you are simply trying to survive each day, but I am using every small decision you make now to rewrite the setting for those who follow. This is why I view your journey as far more important than you realize. It does not change one life, it alters the direction of a lineage. So, when you begin to see the first signs of opening, do not merely ask, "How can I keep this?" but ask, "Lord, what do you want to do through this?" When a door opens unexpectedly, come to me before you consult your own plan. When a financial opportunity appears, ask me whether it aligns with heaven's rhythm for you. When provision arrives unannounced, do not divide it according to fear. Lay it before me and let me guide your stewardship. I do not want you straining alone over calculations. I want you to find joy in partnering with me, even in decisions that appear ordinary. Because with me, nothing placed in my hands remains ordinary. You are not alone in this stage. I am not saying to you, manage on your own. I have given enough. And then, stepping back, on the contrary, as the blessing begins to unfold, I draw even nearer. I want to walk with you step by step so you do not remember me only in seasons of lack, but also recognize me in seasons of plenty. I want you to learn to say, "Lord, with this, what shall we do next?" so that you are not merely a keeper, but a partner with me in a plan far greater than your private dreams. And when you live like this, when you walk as a covenant bearer rather than someone who stumbled into temporary luck, you will feel something more precious than any possession, the profound certainty that you are where I want you, in the time I have chosen, carrying the blessing I ordained. And none of it is accidental. This is the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter in which blessing is no longer what you hear from others, but what you live, a chapter in which you no longer bow your head in shame because of lack, but lift your eyes in gratitude as you see my hand in every detail, a chapter in which your life is not merely the story of being rescued from hardship, but the story of being raised up to become comfort, hope, and confirmation to souls asking whether I still work wonders. I tell you I do, and I am beginning a new testimony upon the pages of your life, my beloved child. As you stand in the threshold between what was once lack and what is beginning to reveal itself as blessing, I want you to understand that this shift is not happening only in circumstances, but first and foremost in the depth of your spirit. I am not merely changing your material life, I am enlarging the container within you so that you may hold what I give without losing peace, wisdom, or direction. Many step into abundance without a rooted core, and abundance becomes the very wind that blows them away from themselves, drawing them into the noise of the world rather than the whisper of my spirit. But for you, I have prepared a different process. I am establishing within you a capacity to stand firm even when the blessing becomes so great that others marvel. You will not be overwhelmed by expansion. You will be shaped to walk in it as one who carries a covenant. My child, in this very moment, I am doing a quiet yet profoundly important work within you. I am separating your soul from the attachments that once tethered you to the fear of lack. You may feel yourself drifting away from old habits, over-preparing, holding everything too tightly, bracing yourself for the worst, not because you suddenly became stronger, but because I am peeling away the layers of fear that have weighed on you for years. You may not notice it, but I have begun to change the way your heart reacts to every situation connected to provision. Where once the thought of money made your chest tighten with worry, now you will find yourself calmer, lighter, as if your soul somehow knows that your supply no longer comes from a fragile system but from me. This is not wishful thinking. It is a truth I am inscribing into your spirit. Little by little, your discernment in this season will become sharper than ever before. You will recognize the difference between an opportunity sent by me and a bait set by fear. What I open will make your soul expand. What is not from me will make your heart shrink. What I lead will bring a deep and steady peace. What is disguised will create pressure, even if it appears logical on the surface. I will teach you to distinguish my prompting from the world's hurried rush. I will teach you to recognize invitations that sound like blessings, but steal your peace. For in a season of abundance, the greatest danger is not the lack of blessing, but choosing the wrong one. And I love you far too much to let you wander into places that do not belong to you. I am also separating you from relationships that cannot walk with you into the new season. Some people you feel attached to, familiar with, have become voices that anchor you to old mindsets rather than lift you toward what I am doing. Some you love, but they cannot comprehend the path you are on. They may respond with hesitation, suspicion, or subtle doubt that makes your spirit shrink. I am not asking you to push anyone away with harshness or coldness. I am simply guiding you gently out of currents that cause you to retreat. You will see the relationships I have appointed draw closer, while those who no longer belong to your next chapter will step back without you forcing anything. That is how I protect your heart from voices that could suffocate the trust I am cultivating within you. When I bless you, some will rejoice with you, but others will question, envy, or doubt you. Many see the outcome, but never the process. They see your rise, but not the nights you knelt when hope was paper thin. They see your smile, but not the seasons you cried out your soul. This is why I want you to carry a heart steady enough not to bend according to how others react to your blessing. You do not need to explain, justify, or ask permission to rejoice. You simply keep walking in humility and gratitude, and the blessing itself will testify of what I have done. You will also learn to steward resources according to heaven's rhythm. I am not only teaching you how to spend, save, or invest, but how to receive. Many do not know how to receive blessing because they fear it will vanish. So they hold it so tightly that it suffocates them. But when I am the source, blessing is never given to be hidden. It is given to be set in motion, a river that revives dry places within you and around you. I will teach you how to open your hand without losing wisdom, how to give without slipping into lack, how to use without being ruled by greed, how to expand without falling into pride. You will see that when you walk in my rhythm, every financial decision becomes not merely a matter of numbers, but an act of obedience and trust. I am placing a spiritual hedge around you to protect what I am doing. The enemy does not fear the poor, the weary, or the hopeless. It fears the awakened, the ones who begin to realize they are called, the ones who understand that blessing is a tool and not a chain. Thus it will try to sow confusion into your mind, making you doubt my goodness, whispering that blessings that come too easily will not last, or that one day everything may disappear. But remember this, what I give is never taken back. What I open no one can shut. What I guard no force can break. Your protection does not come from clinging to what you have, but from walking beneath my shadow. In this season, you will feel deeply that I am not only teaching you how to receive blessings, but how to live as one who carries a covenant. That means you walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are loved, covered, and guided, not with pride, but with serenity, not with display, but with trust. You will find yourself no longer rushing, no longer holding on to every opportunity with fear, because you know that if something truly belongs to you, it will stay and wait. for I have placed my seal upon it. And what does not belong to you will leave, no matter how tightly you hold it. This freedom will allow your soul to breathe deeper. Step steadier, and look toward the future with a brightness you once thought you had lost. The blessing I am bringing is not a reward for perfection, but a sign of my presence upon your life. Not because you did everything right, but because you did not abandon me, not because you were the strongest, but because when you were at your weakest, you still held on to me. I do not bless you so that you may boast, but so that you may remember that I am still the one who turns the impossible into reality, who brings life to what seemed barren, who redeems the years you thought were wasted and transforms them into a harvest that makes heaven rejoice. Be ready. What I am doing is bigger than you imagine, deeper than you feel, and closer than you think. And when this season unfolds in full, you will understand that I have prepared you step by step, breath by breath, movement by movement, so that you may stand firm in the goodness that is coming. My child, you are stepping into a phase where the movement of heaven will no longer remain only within the quiet chambers of your soul, but will begin to show itself externally as unmistakable signs of the transfer I have promised. You do not need to force miracles into existence. You only need to stand where I lead you, and they will reveal themselves in ways you could never have predicted. All this time I have been building within you the foundation to receive without fear of losing, to hold without being burdened, to open your heart without being swept away. And now is the moment I lead you into the land where my words take on tangible form in your daily life. My child, what I am about to do will not arrive like a storm, but like the sunrise. No one hears the sound of the sun breaking through the horizon. Yet once it rises, no one can deny its light. You will begin to notice changes in the smallest things. Doors that once stayed silent will suddenly be knocked upon. Invitations you never chased will begin to find you. Conversations you assumed were casual will turn out to be pivotal. Vague ideas will sharpen with clarity until you know exactly what to do next. These things will not happen because you suddenly became lucky, but because my time has come. When I speak for a season to open, it cannot stay closed. When I command a river to flow, no force can dam it. I am not only opening circumstances, I am opening hearts. Those who once closed their doors will feel moved to partner with you. Those who once doubted you will find themselves trusting you. There are hearts I have prepared long before today, and now I lead them into your life at the right moment, the right context, the right alignment to play their part in the journey I am writing with you. You will not need to persuade, compete, or prove yourself. I will make sure the right eyes see, the right minds understand, and the right hands open the right doors. You will be astonished that things once impossibly complicated now become easy, but that is how I work. I soften what was hard. I water what seemed barren. I carve paths through what once looked hopelessly closed. I know you have carried an invisible weariness for many years, the weariness of always having to try, endure, push, and survive. But now, my child, I want you to enter a new phase, a phase where you will feel, perhaps for the first time, that you no longer need to hold yourself up alone, not because you will become passive, but because you have learned a new rhythm, the rhythm of collaboration with me rather than fighting in your own strength. When you move in this rhythm, you will experience something remarkable. Burdens that once crushed you will feel lighter. Decisions that once filled you with anxiety will become opportunities to sense my guidance. Paths that once seemed foggy will be illuminated by signs I have placed like lanterns along the way. In the season of abundance, I do not only want you to receive, I want you to shine. Blessing is not for you to live comfortably and forget where you came from. Blessing is meant to turn you into a living testimony that I rescue. I raise. I transform. I intervene. I make a way even through the darkest terrain. What I place on you is not merely provision, it is presence, a kind of light that causes others to sense hope when they look at you. I restore your life, not only so you can taste peace, but so you can become a refuge for souls trembling in the same ways you once trembled. I bring you into abundance not to erase your past, but so your past becomes a lamp that guides others out of their night. My beloved, listen closely to what I now speak. The years you thought were lost will not return as they once were. They will return better, larger, deeper, filled with meaning. No year was wasted. Each one became the groundwork of the wisdom within you, the soil of your compassion, the foundation of your humility, the quiet stream that formed your tenderness toward others. I am turning every wound in you into a doorway through which I will flow to help others believe again. This does not diminish your blessing. It strengthens it, beautifies it, completes it. I have never forgotten a single word I spoke to you, even in seasons where I seemed silent, even in the nights when you felt unseen, even in days when you wondered if my promises had expired. I kept pulling time forward toward today, this day where my silence becomes your answer. Your waiting becomes fruit, and the small prayers you once whispered become pathways spread wide before you. You will know you have entered the season of manifestation when everything begins to align, the right person at the right moment, the right opportunity at just the right time, the needed provision arriving before fear can rise. I do not work in chaos, I work in precision, weaving everything so seamlessly that it feels as if it had been prepared long ago. And truly, it was long before you knew how to ask. My child, at the end of this road, I do not only give you blessing, I give you affirmation. You are mine, and your life has never wandered off course for even a second. What I am opening will not only shift your circumstances, it will reshape the way you see yourself, the way you walk, the way you dream. And as blessing pours down like summer rain on long cracked ground, you will stand in its flow and know this is not an ending but a beginning of calling, of assignment, of light I wrote for you before you knew you were chosen. Walk into this chapter with a softened faith and wide open eyes, for I am doing what no one else can do, and I am doing it through your life, the one who once thought themselves too small to ever become evidence of a miracle. Yet I choose you, so the world may know nothing is too small for me to raise, nothing too late for me to restore, no life too broken for me to rewrite with my own light. My child, when you cross the strange threshold between dark seasons and the dawning light now spreading through your life, I want you to understand that this is not merely an outward shift in circumstances or emotions. It is the unveiling of a phase where you will no longer live just to survive, but to carry my glory in ways you have never experienced. You have walked through countless cycles, exhaustion to restoration, weariness to peace, doubt to faith, and none of them happened at random. They were steps, carved one by one, to bring you to where you stand today, deep enough to understand my heart, mature enough to steward blessing, tender enough to follow my leading, strong enough not to be shaken by the voices of the world. And now, my child, I open before you a new land, a land not merely watered by promises, but by my intentions, my plans, my very breath. This is the season in which you will no longer see the world through lenses of fear or scarcity. In earlier years, your mind was wrapped in anxiety about what you lacked, about what was unfair, about dreams that seemed to die too soon. These shadows once governed your choices, making you feel small, defensive, fragile. But you are no longer that person. When I healed you, I did not merely mend cracks. I replaced the very foundation, a foundation built on the deep understanding that you are chosen, covered, destined to step into doors no one else can walk through, and to carry what the world has not yet witnessed. In that healing, I placed within you a holy courage, a stability not rooted in circumstances, a strength not born of effort, a clarity not formed by human experience but by my presence alive in your soul. In this new season, I am not only shifting the atmosphere around you, I am giving you a new role, not a role of superficial honor or earthly recognition, but a form of spiritual authority carried only by those who have walked through fire with me, waited in silence with me, and remained faithful through countless trials. This authority does not come with thunder or spectacle. It comes in the quiet certainty that your words now carry weight because they are born from the depths, places where you once shattered, but I restored. You will feel this change in your decisions, your steps, your speech, not because you want to prove yourself, but because you know that now every breath carries a portion of my light, my healing, my refined wisdom. You will no longer move like one trying to validate your worth. You will move like one who knows they have been entrusted. My child, do not be surprised when you begin to feel, deeply and unmistakably, that you are being led into spaces where you once felt afraid or believed you did not belong. In the past, you walked with the posture of someone seeking approval, but now you will walk as one who carries my presence into places that lack light. You will no longer strive to be seen or validated. It will be the peace you carry, the steadiness you radiate, the clarity in your words that will cause others to realize you bear something they cannot name, yet cannot deny. That is the sign of the new season. You will not need to chase open doors, because the doors themselves will open in response to my presence within you. I want you to understand deeply that this new role is not a burden, but an honor. You have walked through pain without allowing it to turn you bitter, and that alone has made you the right person to carry this new flow. The places that once rejected you will now become testimonies that I never close one door without opening another that is greater. Those who doubted you will plainly see the way I am lifting you. Those who walk away will see you stand stronger than ever, not to take revenge, but to demonstrate that my hand never lets go of those who belong to me. Now I set before your eyes a new horizon, wide, bright, and filled with things that come directly from my heart. You no longer have to live afraid that good things will vanish. In this season, what I give will endure. The doors I open will not be slammed shut by human hands. The opportunities I orchestrate will not be blocked by the enemy. The people I send will not harm you. You have stepped into a land where heavenly protection surrounds each step you take, where my angels guard you before and behind, where my breath soothes your spirit every time you face something new. And above all, you do not enter this season alone. You walk into it with me, with my light resting upon your head, my wisdom placed within your heart, my peace soaking your mind. As you step into this new role, you will know that everything that once wounded you was not merely a test, but preparation for what now stands before you. And when you look back, you will see one undeniable truth. I was present in every moment, and now I am present in every step you are about to take. My beloved child, what you are living through is not only a change in circumstances, it is a quiet yet powerful shift in destiny, direction, and meaning, things I planted in your soul from the very beginning. For a long time, you thought you were simply waiting for external doors to open, But what I truly wanted was for the doors inside you to open first. I have patiently waited for your heart to be healed, for your mind to be renewed, for lifeless old beliefs to fall away so you could receive something greater. And now, as you find yourself standing in a deep, resonant stillness, it is precisely in that stillness that I am resetting the foundation of your life with things eternal. You once believed you needed to become stronger before stepping into my plans for you. But the kind of strength you imagined is not the strength I seek. I do not desire you to become someone who must brace themselves, stretch themselves, or harden themselves to prove worth or avoid pain. What I desire is strength born of surrender, stability rooted in trust, and resilience anchored in rest within my arms. You did not learn these things in days of glory, but in long nights where you had nothing to hold on to except my word. It was there that a new steadfastness was formed in you, a steadfastness that keeps you from being easily shaken by judgment, by the gaze of others, or by unfavorable circumstances. That steadfastness is the very foundation for the new authority I am placing upon your shoulders. This is not an authority to control others or assert ownership over anything. It is a kind of authority that is gentle, yet sharp, quiet, yet undeniable, like a great tree that makes no noise as it grows, yet casts a wide shade for all who need rest. You will not need many words for people to recognize my presence in you. They will sense a peace, a strength, a softness that makes them want to open their hearts without knowing why. You once wondered why you had to endure such deep pain. And this is my answer, because in the places you are about to go, you must carry a tender heart, not one hardened by suffering, but one refined by healing. As you enter this season, you will see my delicate arrangements in even the smallest details. Not everything that happens will be dramatic or spectacular. Some of it will be as simple as an unexpected encounter, a seemingly casual sentence, a small opportunity arriving at exactly the right time. But remember this, even the simplest things flow from a hand that never does anything by accident. I want you to learn to look with spiritual eyes, to discern my movement not only in great miracles but also in what seems ordinary. When you can recognize me in the small, you will not lose your way when I lead you into the great. I am deepening your gift of discernment not so you will mistrust everyone or live on edge, but so you can know who belongs with you in this season and who does not. There will be people I bring because they are part of your rising. There will also be people I gently remove, not because they are evil, but because they no longer align with the direction I am taking you. Every relationship, every connection in this season will carry purpose. I do not allow anything into your life by chance. You will begin to sense the sacred separation. I am performing what no longer nurtures. Your growth will fade away. And what is healthy, pure, and solid will come closer. I do this not to wound you, but to protect you from things that might pull you off the path I have ordained. My child, this divine protection is not always visible to your eyes, but you will feel it as peace. This is a peace that does not come from ease, but from the certainty that you are standing where I want you to stand. That peace is not mere emotion. It is a decree from heaven. It is like when Israel stood before the Red Sea, the waters had not yet parted. The road had not yet appeared. And still, I told them to move forward. You will feel that very kind of peace, a peace not anchored in what you see, but in the one who has spoken. When I plant that peace within you, it becomes the sign that you are not out of step. You are walking in rhythm with me. I am enlarging your heart in ways you have never known before, not to weigh you down with new burdens, but so you can carry more blessing, more vision, more love that I want to pour through you. You will find your heart expanding in its ability to forgive, deepening in patience, softening in how you treat those still stumbling in their own darkness. You will no longer be as harsh with yourself or with others as you once were. Healing has made your heart gentler, and the abundance I am giving means you no longer need to protect yourself desperately as you did in former days. When you no longer feel you lack, you no longer need to bolt the doors of your heart. I am teaching you to open that door without fear of harm, because I myself am the one who guards it. Remember this, you do not step into this new role because you qualify by human standards, but because I see your heart. I see what others overlook: your faithfulness in small things, your kindness when you had almost nothing to give, your patience under unfair treatment, your perseverance in holding on to my promise even when the night felt endless. These are the things that make you a person I can trust, and those whom I trust, I clothe with authority, wisdom, and protection that no power can overthrow. My child, this season will resemble none you have ever walked through. Everything within you is more prepared than you realize. The things you once believed you were not capable of doing will become natural in your hands because I will make them so. The things you used to fear facing, I will cause you to step through with a strange and steady calm. The responsibilities that once seemed overwhelming will become the very pathways through which you will see my support upholding you each day. And with every step you take, you will understand you are not stepping into a new role, you are stepping into the truest version of yourself. The one I wrote into existence when I breathed life into you. My child, when you stand on the new ground I have prepared where the winds have shifted, and the spiritual atmosphere begins to move in rhythm with the vision I have given, you must understand that you are now in a moment where your inner maturity is no longer merely something you can sense, but something others can clearly see. Not because you are trying to display it, but because the light I have placed upon you has begun to touch everything around you. This is the moment you step out of the shadows of past trials and into the unveiling of a season in which you are meant to walk confidently on the land you once only dared to look at from a distance. You have walked through valleys where every strength you once relied on collapsed. And because of that, you now stand in a kind of strength that does not come from yourself, but from the intersection between your surrendered heart and my power. You will begin to notice something unusual. Your words no longer fall lightly as they once did. They carry the weight of experience, of vision, of healing, of divine guidance. Not because you speak louder, stronger, or more sharply, but because each word carries my breath. You once thought humility meant silence. But true humility is speaking only what I place in your heart with peace, without fear, without self-interest, without seeking applause. I have refined you so that you speak with purity, act with certainty, and walk with the natural ease of someone who knows they have been given a mission, not someone trying to build their own position. This new season will astonish you, because of how I will arrange everything around you to lift you higher. The things that once felt too big for your abilities will suddenly feel perfectly tailored to the person I have formed within you. The things you once feared will become opportunities for me to show you how much you have grown. You will stand in situations where, in the past, you would have stepped back. But now you will find your heart no longer trembling, because your heart has become anchored in me, not in outcomes or in the reactions of others. There will be unexpected moments in which you sense yourself stepping into rooms you did not enter by effort but by my leading. These doors will open as effortlessly as the wind, requiring no struggle, no pleading, no maneuvering. And when you stand in these places, you will know that your presence there is not coincidence, but confirmation that I have entrusted you with a new measure of influence. I do not bring you into places of light so you can shine for your own sake. I bring you there so my light in you may illuminate the corners others have forgotten to look into. You will carry peace into tense conversations, clarity into places of confusion, and comfort into souls that seem to have dried out. You will not need to force any of this. It will flow from you like water from a spring newly reopened. My beloved child, every blessing in this season is not merely a gift but a layer of training, a phase of shaping, a step of preparation for something greater still on the way. I never give you anything beyond your capacity, and I never place into your hands something you are not being prepared to carry. The years you thought were delays were not wasted. They were the time I used to enlarge your heart, deepen your roots, and sharpen your discernment. That is why, when goodness comes, you will not be swept away by shallow excitement, but will receive it with steadiness, knowing it is only the beginning of a longer, deeper, more glorious journey. The encounters I am arranging for you in this season will not resemble the interactions of past seasons. They will carry a sacred quality so precise, so intentional, that you will not be able to deny my hand behind them. You will meet people with whom a few minutes of conversation will feel like knowing them for years. You will have exchanges that awaken your spirit, expand your vision, and rekindle the strength within you. These are the people I have chosen to walk with you, not to take from you, but to resonate with you. They will see what I placed in you, even when you do not fully see it yourself. And they will walk beside you not with competition, but with honor. For this is not a season for walking alone. It is a season in which I am weaving you into the very network of people I prepared long before you were aware of it. But alongside this expansion, I want you to understand something. You no longer need to hold tightly to anything out of fear. In the past, out of fear of losing, you clung to things that were no longer yours. Out of fear of abandonment, you held on to relationships whose time had passed. Out of fear of failure, you kept your heart in a posture of defense. But now, you no longer live from fear. You live from the certainty that anything that comes from me is kept by me, and anything I do not keep was never meant to be your blessing. This freedom will allow you to walk lightly, without strain, without clenched fists, without the anxiety of control. You will know how to let things flow, how to release at the right time, how to open your heart when I place something new in your hands. As you walk deeper into this season, you will feel an unusual closeness with me, a closeness not built on long prayers but on continual companionship. You will sense me in calm mornings, in quiet nights, in unexpected conversations, in seemingly ordinary steps. You will know not only that I am with you, but that I am guiding your smallest movements. This is why you will not fear new things, why you will not draw back from difficulty, why you will not be overwhelmed by greatness, because it is I who will accomplish, through you, what exceeds everything you once believed you could do. And there will come a moment when you stand in the rise of your own becoming, that you will understand a profound truth. You were not brought into this season merely to receive blessings. You were brought into this season to become living proof that I can turn pain into oil, waiting into harvest, and the tears of past years into doors of new spiritual authority. You will know that I have not only restored you, I have positioned you as one who carries fire, light, hope, and the word I planted deep within you. Enter this season not with hesitation, but with the quiet strength of someone who knows that heaven itself has called their name. Walk not with fear of failure, but with the certainty that I lead you not toward a cliff, but toward the best chapter of your story. And when you walk, I walk, When you speak, I empower. When you serve, I pour out. When you dare to believe, I dare to act. This is the moment you lift your head and know that the unveiling has come. The rising has begun, and your destiny is unfolding layer by layer under the hand of the one who wrote it before the earth was formed. My beloved child, I want you to pause for a moment and feel the depth of what is happening around you. This is not merely the closing of one season and the beginning of another. This is a sacred transition marking that you have become what I saw from the very beginning, even when you never saw it in yourself. All of heaven watches your maturity the way a farmer looks upon a seed that has finally blossomed after months of tending. For every trial, every tear, every time you chose to stand firm instead of giving up has become an essential part of this process. You do not stand here by luck, by coincidence, or by blind striving. You stand here because I have led you through every stage of crushing, refining, healing, lifting, and revealing. Look back now with renewed eyes. What you thought were failures were actually necessary bends in the path. What you thought were losses became the very spaces I used to pour in what was new. The seasons that felt silent were the very seasons in which I was forming deep roots in your soul. Not a single step you took was wasted. You did not lose your way even once. Even the wearying detours were used to open your eyes, to peel away things that no longer served my purpose, to unbind you from attachments that seemed harmless but were holding you to the past. I cleared the road before you even when you could not see it. I arranged details you thought were unrelated. I prepared the encounters, opportunities, and doors that are now unfolding before you. And it is in this unfolding that you will know I never forgot a single moment of your life. This is the season in which you no longer live as one searching for meaning, but as one who has found meaning and now lives fully within it. In the past, you walked with endless questions. Why did I have to go through all of that? When will I finally see the answer? Did I do something wrong? But now, those questions no longer take up space in your mind, because your present is answering your past. The winding paths, it turns out, led you exactly where you needed to be. The tears you cried watered the soil that is now blooming. The disappointments cleared away what no longer belonged, so you could receive what is new. And you stand where you are now not only with gratitude, but with a deep understanding that I have worked all things together for your good in the exact timing I chose. Understand this, I did not lead you merely so you could live a blessed life. I led you so you could become a living sign of my faithfulness. You have walked through places where, without me, you would have collapsed. You have faced things where, without me, you would never have risen again. But you stood, not because you were strong, but because you allowed me to be strong in your place. Not because you knew every answer, but because you allowed me to lead you through the darkness. Not because you were flawless, but because you surrendered, and that surrender became the bridge that carried you into the abundance of the season you are now stepping into. I am not only the one who saves you, I am the one who unites you with the purpose of your own life. There were years when you thought you were merely surviving, but in truth, I was bringing you closer to the very thing I wrote for you before time began. Every wound you once carried has become a place where my light shines through to reach those who need hope. Every moment in which you chose faith over fear became a stone on the path you are now standing upon. Every prayer you uttered in desperation became a seed for the harvest you are about to enter. You did not know, but I knew. You could not see, but I saw. You could not understand, but I had already ordained. I want you to step into this stage with the stillness of someone who knows they are no longer defined by their past, but by my voice alone. You have carried too many burdens these past years, the burden of explaining yourself, of defending yourself, of proving yourself, of holding tightly to things you feared losing. But now, I want you to lay that down. This is not a season of striving. It is a season of standing in grace. No longer must you struggle to be seen. I will place you exactly where you need to stand. No longer must you battle the silent voices rising against you. I will silence them myself. No longer must you fear being abandoned or forgotten. I am the one who never leaves you, not even for a single breath. I am turning the page, renewing, completing, expanding, gathering every fragment you once thought would never heal. I am not healing you by restoring the old. I am creating the new. I am turning the things that once hurt you into the foundation of your wisdom. I am turning the things that once made you tremble into the reason you now stand with strength. I am turning the things that once silenced you into the powerful voice you will carry in this season. You are stepping into the very best chapter of your life story. Not the opening chapter, not the middle chapter, but the one in which everything I have sown into you begins to blossom all at once. The chapter where heaven and earth meet in your life. The chapter where you no longer seek validation, because I myself am your validation. The chapter where you no longer fear loss, because you know that what I give, no one can take away. The chapter where you stand not because you strive, but because I uphold you. Believe this. This is the season in which you will no longer ask, when, but will begin to say, here it is. This is the season where waiting is no longer vague longing, but becomes sight. This is the season where you no longer live on distant hope, but walk in fulfillment. And as you enter this season, you will understand something that only those who have walked through the fire with me can truly grasp. I was always there, never leaving, never abandoning, never forgetting. My beloved child, as you stand within the sacred transition I have prepared for you over many seasons, I want you to recognize that you are stepping into a kind of rest unlike anything you have ever known. It is not the rest that comes because every burden has disappeared, but the rest that comes from knowing with certainty that everything you need has been provided for. Every step you must take has already been prepared, and every battle you must win has been predetermined by me in your favor. This rest does not arise from ease, but from the deep trust that you have walked far enough to know that I have never once failed you. Every time you thought your life was about to collapse, I used the very ruins to build a new platform for you to rise higher. And because of that, when you look around now, you will see that the things that once frightened you no longer hold power over you. In this season, you will no longer move from the instinct of survival, but from the flow of purpose. In the past, every step you took carried the weight of hesitation, as if one small misstep could make everything fall apart. But this season is different. This is the season where I place you in the exact position where you belong, where what I have appointed for you is no longer delayed by the doubt of others or the weariness within yourself. You will not walk like someone fragile, straining just to hold yourself together, but like someone who has found the rhythm of their destiny. The fear that once clung to you will no longer have a place. The chaos that once disturbed your mind will fade into a distant echo. You will stand firm not because your circumstances are calm, but because your soul has been anchored to an unshakable source, me. This is the season in which I expand your influence, not only through what you do, but through who you are. You will not need to chase after doors. The doors will open as you approach. You will not need to beg to be seen. I myself will bring you into the spaces where you are meant to stand. This expansion is not exposure, it is placement. I am positioning you in the place that belongs to you, not so that others may praise you, but so that those I intend to reach can encounter the light I have placed within you. What I am opening is not merely opportunity, but environments aligned with the spiritual frequency I have refined in you over the years. You will find yourself invited into conversations you never imagined being part of before, entrusted with responsibilities you once believed were beyond your capability, meeting people who, a few years ago, would have made you feel too small even to approach. But now, you will enter those spaces without trembling, because your soul has learned how to stand in peace. When you speak, your words will no longer shake under pressure, but will carry a quiet strength that cannot be hidden, because they come from a place I have healed, lifted, and established. And when you listen, you will no longer hear through the ears of someone wounded, but through the heart of someone restored and entrusted with discernment. This expansion is not coming to make your life heavier, but to bring you fully into the flow I have prepared for you. That flow will carry you into places where everything you once prayed for, from peace, clarity, and stability, to the dreams you buried, will begin to surface layer by layer, like light breaking through thick clouds. What I do for you will not come in haste, but in precision. You will not need to grasp frantically for fear of missing anything. My blessings arrive at the right moment, for I am never late. In this stage, you will discover an essential truth. I am not only changing your life, I am changing the way you perceive yourself. You will no longer see yourself as someone struggling to keep up with the world. You will see yourself as one entrusted by heaven to supply what the world is lacking. You will no longer fear that you are not enough. You will know that I am the one who is enough within you. You will no longer measure yourself by what you have lost. You will see yourself through the things I am making new. And when you look, you will see the person you once hoped you could become, yet now you will no longer hope, because you are becoming exactly that. Do not think this season is only about receiving. This is the season where you carry a presence capable of shifting atmospheres, a word capable of opening hearts, a peace capable of calming the unspoken fears of others. You did not walk through fire to keep the experience to yourself, but to become a voice of hope for those who now walk where you once walked. I did not call you to live quietly in the corner of your life. I called you to step into impact, not impact made through condemnation, but through healing, not through judgment, but through understanding, not through force, but through presence that connects others to the peace I have placed within you. In this season, I will make you like the dawn among weary hearts, not harsh, not overwhelming, but clear, gentle, and full of life. I will lead you into moments where your mere presence will be enough to shift the atmosphere around you, not because you say something profound, but because I am walking with you. People will feel peace around you, even when they cannot explain why. They will seek you out, not because you hold every answer, but because you know how to lead them to the one who does. The expansion I am bringing into your life is not meant to push you into busyness, but to bring you into fullness. You will no longer feel restless when faced with choices, because I will cause you to clearly recognize what belongs to you and what no longer fits the path I have set before you. You will no longer chase after affirmation, because I myself will be the confirmation in your heart every single day. You will no longer fear change, because you will understand that every change I lead you through carries meaning, purpose, and direction. And then, there will come a moment when you look around and realize that you are no longer fighting to be accepted, you are living as one who has already been affirmed by heaven. You will no longer hesitate in front of open doors, because you will know they are not accidents but signs that your time has ripened. You will no longer feel like you are standing on the edges of great things, because I myself will place you at the center of what I am doing. This is the season in which you will see the connection between every fragment I have placed throughout your life, the pain of previous years, the tear-soaked waiting, the moments when you felt you were at the brink of giving up, the whispers I spoke to you in the quiet. All of it will merge into one clear picture that can be described with only one word: faithfulness. And when you behold that picture, you will understand that I did not merely lead you through each trial. I led you to the very moment where every promise begins to take form. My beloved child, as you approach the final page of this chapter, I want you to know that this is not the ending of your story, but the turning point of a symphony rising into a brighter, more glorious crescendo. What you have read, heard, and felt within your spirit is not temporary comfort. It is a heavenly map for your soul, a confirmation that you no longer stand where you once stood. You have walked through valleys you were certain you would never survive. Yet here you are now with a softer heart, with clearer eyes, with deeper faith. That is not the result of your willpower, but the imprint of my grace. I held your hand in the hours no one noticed you were breaking. I kept your soul in the nights when no one heard your cries. I shielded you when arrows flew straight toward your fragile heart. You look back and do not understand how you are still standing. But I tell you, it was I who stood between you and the abyss, between you and darkness, between you and complete collapse. And now, as you step into a new season, I want you to know that not a single part of this journey was meaningless. I see how your heart trembles as you read each word, as though something deep within you is being called by name. That is not a fleeting emotion, but the echo of your soul responding to the voice of the one who formed you. When you feel that gentle quiver inside, when your eyes sting without knowing why, when your heart shakes and yet is drawn closer, it is because the deepest part of you recognizes that these words are not meant for someone out there, but for you. I wrote you into my heart long before you took your first breath. I knew every chapter of your life before you stepped into the first one. I heard every whisper you never managed to form into words. And now, when I speak to you of reversal, of abundance, of rewriting the story of your finances, emotions, family, and future, these are not empty promises. They are revelations of a plan prepared long ago, waiting only for your heart to soften, your faith to ripen, and your eyes to open enough to receive it. I am not promising that you will never face difficulty again. I am promising that you will never face it alone. In the past, every time the storm rose, you felt abandoned, so you braced yourself with all your might, trying desperately to hold everything together. But now, I am leading you into a deeper place, the place where, in the middle of the storm, you can lift your eyes instead of bowing in despair, the place where, amid change, you know you can remain still within my heart, the place where, when a door in the world closes, you no longer assume that all is lost, because you know I hold doors no human hand can control. You will still walk through days with rain and wind, but your heart will no longer be carried away by the turmoil, for your anchor is no longer tied to emotion or circumstance, but to me, the one who does not change. You have heard many times about blessing, provision, breakthrough, and at times those words were used so lightly that your heart closed itself, unable to bear another unfulfilled promise. I know you were disappointed by people who spoke of blessings they did not live, of faith without depth, of declarations without transformation. That is why I do not come to you through noise, but through a quiet that sinks deep into your bones, not through slogans, but through a touch so personal, so specific, that only your spirit can interpret it. I am not calling you to chase an illusion of success. I am calling you into the fullness of a life placed in the right position, in the right time, with the right purpose and the right source. Within that fullness there is provision, financial reversal, open doors in your work, restored relationships, but above all, there is a peace you cannot buy, cannot borrow, cannot manufacture. You are no longer the one standing at the edges, waiting to see if your name will be called. In heaven, your name is not at the bottom of a list, nor tucked away in a forgotten corner. You have always been at the center of my heart. When I say I am opening a new season for you, I am not speaking merely of a shift in time, but of a shift in spiritual position. You will no longer bow your head under the weight of feeling less than, no longer withdraw out of fear of disappointing others, no longer shrink back because of the lie that you have nothing worthy to offer. I have placed inside you things even you have not yet discovered the ability to lift the souls of others. Wisdom forged through long endurance. A holy boldness ignited from the times you chose to trust me without any evidence. I see all of it, and when I enlarge your territory, I do so not based on illusion, but on what I have seen in the hidden places of your heart. I want you to know that my arrangements will begin to reveal themselves very clearly in the days ahead, not through grand displays that shake the world, but through subtle movements so precise that you will not be able to call them coincidence. There will be small encounters that open great paths. There will be moments that make you pause and whisper, "If not you, Lord, then no one." There will be signs as gentle as a breeze, yet strong enough to assure your heart that heaven is nodding toward you. I have promised confirmations, and I am a God who keeps his word. What I ask of you is simple: a softened heart, open hands, and one step of obedience at a time whenever I nudge you. You do not need to draw the whole map. You only need to take the next step in the light I give you today. What I am doing for you does not end with your life alone. Every decision you make to choose faith over fear, forgiveness over bitterness, courage over retreat is rewriting the path for those who will come after you. You are breaking cycles that have stretched across generations, shattering negative words that were repeated like inherited destinies, replacing patterns of lack, chaos, and division with a new atmosphere, peace, clarity, unity, and abundance. There are things your ancestors cried for but never dared to speak aloud, prayers they whispered in silence, and I have not forgotten them. I have chosen to fulfill many of those longings through your life. And so, when you step into this new season, you are not rising only as an individual, you are rising as a pivotal link in the unfolding of a legacy that I am cleansing, restoring, and establishing anew. And now, I place before you a gentle yet sovereign invitation: continue walking with me, not just for a few days, a few months, or a few years in a wave of spiritual inspiration, but for a lifetime. Let me be your breath in the morning, your strength in the weary noon, your comfort in the long night, your light when you must choose between paths. Let me partner with you in stewarding the resources I entrust to you, nurturing the relationships I give you, using the voice I have placed within you, and stepping through the doors I open. You do not need to be perfect to walk with me. You only need to be honest and willing. I know there will be times when you grow tired, when doubt returns, when you stumble, but I am not intimidated by the mud on your feet. I only ask that you do not let go of my hand. My beloved child, if there is a response rising from deep within you, let that response become a quiet covenant between you and me, that you will not return to the old way of living, that you will not allow fear and shame to keep writing the script of your future, that you will not allow the enemy's voice to speak louder than mine. Let your heart say to me, even if it is only a simple sentence, Lord, I belong to you, and I agree with what you declare over my life. I do not require a speech, I only desire a heart leaning toward me. From that moment onward, you will begin to sense that something has shifted, not only in the spiritual atmosphere around you, but in the very core of your inner being, a deep lightness, a renewed certainty, a quiet peace you once only dared to dream about. And finally, I want you to engrave this in your heart as an unerasable seal. You will not end in disappointment. Not a single tear you have shed is meaningless. Not a single prayer whispered in weakness has been ignored. Not a single sacrifice made in silence has been forgotten. I will redeem the time. Redeem the opportunities. Redeem the years you believed were stolen. I will bring you into a season in which you will look back and say, only God could have done this. And I will smile, for that has been my intention from the very beginning. So now, my beloved child, rise within your heart. Continue forward not with a heavy burden, but with holy anticipation. Lift your head, for heaven has opened over your life. I go before you. I walk beside you, and I guard behind you. You are covered, chosen, loved, and commissioned. And the story I write with you still holds wondrous chapters ahead. Thank you for listening to today's message. Please subscribe and activate the notification bell so we may continue receiving the living word together, building unwavering faith and walking in the boundless love of God. Amen.